Hey everyone, I'm back. I know it's been a couple of months. The last time I recorded was the beginning of July, and there's good reason. But first, before we get into all the things I have been doing for the last almost 3 months now, let me introduce myself for those of you that don't know. My name is Samantha, and I am a knitter, crocheter, just overall crafty person that lives just outside of Houston, northwest of Houston, the Houston suburbs. And I have been knitting since I was 21. I'm 45 now. I've been crocheting since I was 8, and I do just about every crafty thing that there is out there. So if any of that sounds interesting to you, please stick around, like, subscribe. All those things help get my channel out there to people. As I pretty much, I'm showing all the things that I love to make. So welcome, and let's talk about some of the stuff that's been going on. In July, I was working on the Tour de Fleece. I got a spinning wheel, a Nano, Electric Eel Nano 2.0 earlier on in the year, and I had been working on doing a little bit of spinning, and so I showed a little bit of that off, and bought a bunch more fiber, and yeah, I haven't done a whole lot of spinning. I have been working on one braid of Corriedale that came from my friend Laura's shop. She no longer sells. She closed her shop earlier this year, but I have been working on spinning her yarn, and so I have the singles completed as of, actually it was Sunday night. I finished those. Today's Tuesday. And so I might work on plying that later today or maybe later this week, we'll see. So for the rest of the month of July, I was mainly working on my Tolsta tee. And here it is. So this is made out of Mandarin Petit from Sandnes Garn, and it is made out of the Burgundy color and the Khaki color. It is the second time I am working with Mandarin Petit, and not much better than the first time. It is the splittiest yarn I think I have ever used, and because it's so splitty as a cotton, I knew it was going to be to an extent, but it was so incredibly splitty that it slowed me down. And then I was powering through trying to get it done because it was our knit along for my local yarn store, Craftique. And so I was trying to just get it done. And so I literally finished it at the beginning of August and didn't even weave in the ends, never wore it. I did finally wear it this past weekend at DFW Fiber Fest for the first time, and I do love it. I do. But I don't know that I will ever work with this yarn again, just because wasn't a fan. So I am going to insert a photo here of me wearing it this weekend. Now I am wearing my book club cardigan over it, so there's that. But I was wearing that and my book club cardigan when I was stopped to talk about what I was wearing, and I was so excited about it that one of the people that helps out with the Fiber Fest gave me some vendor bucks to spend in the hall at any store that I wanted to, any of the booths. So that picture is right here. I did 10 rows on the Burgundy, and I did, I think it was 6 rows. Yeah, 6 rows on the Khaki. So the Khaki stripes are a little bit thinner than the Burgundy stripes, and I really enjoy how that came out. Love the fit, love the construction, loved the project itself. I probably will make more of these, just not anytime soon. So I'm excited for that. Maybe I'll try using a different yarn. I'm thinking maybe a knitting for olive cotton merino, to see if I like that a little bit better. And my local yarn store Crafty does carry that now, so kind of interested to work with that. So maybe my next one will be in the cotton merino, maybe a solid. So we'll see. So Tolsta tee. So once I finished with the Tolsta tee, I cast on 2 other projects. One was a test knit that I needed to get done as soon as I possibly could. And the other is just something that I'm knitting alongside of one of my knitting friends in my knitting group that I go to at my local craft store. And so for the test knit, Trysten of Dragon Horde Yarns had made a pattern called the Winter Court Cardi. And it is a beautiful cardigan with mostly texture all over, with stockinette sleeves and a shawl collar. And I have been working on that since the end of July, all through August and half of September. And so this is the Winter Court Cardi. You can see fitted sleeves that are stockinette. It has a folded wrist cuff to it. Folded wrist cuff, which I kind of love. I was not expecting to love that so much, and I kind of love it. And then it has this shawl collar that is really cozy. And then, let me stand up. Has these wide holes for the buttons to go through. And I just love this pattern. So this is made for a worsted weight overall. I achieved it by using a DK along with a lace weight to make it. And so my 2 yarns that I used Madelinetosh Tosh Merino DK, which is a single ply DK. And I held that together with Tynn Silk Mohair in the color Dark Chocolate. So Afterglow and Dark Chocolate. And it came out with this like pumpkin spicy kind of colorway. I kind of love it. I love this overall. This pattern is beautiful. I love the pattern itself. The chart is really well done. The instructions were very clear once we got through the initial hiccups. There were some initial hiccups with the test knit. The first like week of working on it was kind of frustrating, but that's the whole purpose of doing a test knit, right? That's the whole purpose of you putting something out there to get people to test out your product, your pattern, to see if your pattern makes sense, if there's something that could be done easier. And so the first like week, maybe week and a half, I was pretty frustrated. But once we got all the clarifications of things, once the tech editor figured out what was going on and how to fix it, things were smooth from there out. And so I was able, when I had some downtime with the beginning of the school year and all of the things going on, which I'll get into at the end of my video here, once that was worked out, it was smooth sailing. So I absolutely love this. I actually want to make another one. This one in a pure worsted weight. I've got some yarn that I'm thinking about using, but right now I've got other things on the needles that I need to clear off before I need to do things. So we'll see from there. After I finished this, it was time to work on some other things. I also started an Ooey Gooey, and I am knitting this along with my friend Tyler from my knitting group. Let me make sure I'm not losing any stitches here. I will say I haven't gotten very far on this sweater, specifically because I've been working on this the whole time. And I just finished this last week, basically. So haven't done much, but here is where I'm at. I have finished the color work section of it. I kind of love these welts. and I love the way that this color work looks. It's all jumbled up because, you know, it's on small needles, but I kind of love it. I'm excited. I am at the point where now the color work is going to go to the bottom, the rest of the body, not the color work, the main color, and it's going to start being a lot of just in the round stockinette, and so I'm going to be able to power through a little bit more here soon. So I'm really excited about this. I think for the next couple days at least, this is going to be one of the things that I am going to focus on to get done, because oh, I just lost my needle protector. Hopefully I'm not losing any stitches, but I kind of want to get it done. So let me put that to the side so I don't lose anything. So for my main color, I am using Circulo Veluna. Is this not the most gorgeous, saturated teal color you have ever seen? I love it so much. So interestingly enough, Veluna's label does not say a name for the color. It has a color number, and the color is 3480. But if I remember right, when I looked this up on the website, 3480 is the color Devotion. So I love it so much. I still got 3 full skeins of it, and I'm about halfway through one skein that I have on my twice sheared sheep spindle. That I love this thing too. I now have 2 of them. And my contrast color is Spincycle dyed in the wool in the colorway Stay Ready. And so it's a pretty gray heavy overall batch of this. There is some like tans and browns and stuff, and so just on what I have already done, I have this much of my ball left from the Spincycle. So I've got a feeling that I'm gonna have way more than I need on this. Like if I break into the other one, I'm only gonna break in a little bit, which that's fine. I'll save it for something else. So kind of excited about getting further along. I'm kind of hoping maybe today I can get to splitting the sleeves. We'll see what happens. But I absolutely do love the Ooey Gooey, and I can't wait to be able to wear it when we have some cooler temperatures. So love the Ooey Gooey. The other thing that I have been working on is in my twice sheared sheep bag. I think they call this the Trinity bag. I'm not sure. But one of the other things that I was, we'll say roped into. I will call it roped into. And it's because part of my knitting group, we're in a WhatsApp, and one of the members asked if anybody was joining in on this mystery knit along. And I really get FOMO when it comes to mystery knit-alongs. Like I want to participate. So I jumped in with some stash yarn. So let me talk about the yarn first. I am using Wool of the Andes Sport in Claret Heather, and also in Confetti Heather. So this like really pretty purple and this burgundy heathered color. And then my contrast is Madelinetosh Work Sock in, oh, what is it called? Dead Calm. And it's this gray. And honestly, this is a rip out of my husband's sweater from last year. I already used the black yarn that I had for that, and I have all this gray now left over. And it is listed as a DK, but it's a really light DK, so it works out really well with this. So the pattern is the Mystery Moths or Moth Madness pattern. It's a cowl, And so what I decided to do, since I was doing a sport weight, I decided to do 3 pattern repeats of the Moth pattern. And so the pattern mystery ended like a month ago, maybe even almost 2 months ago at this point. That's how behind I am on things, because I was spending all my time working on this cardigan. Speaking of, let me unbutton it a little, get a little more air, because I live in Texas. It's still hot. But here's where we are. And so you can see the Moth patterns that are emerging. I've got, I think, 15 more rows, probably about this much left of the pattern. And then I get to repeat the confetti heather ribbing that is at the bottom. So this is a cowl. This is going to be a gift for somebody. So I haven't seen them in a little bit, so I'm kind of excited to get this done. Maybe this weekend, maybe I can work on it. And of course I had to put it in a bag that has moths on it. It only makes sense, right? Tell me I'm not crazy. So that is that. I have been working on a couple of other things. One of those, we do have a charity thing that is going on at the knit group. One Saturday a month, we work on charity knits for November to donate to a local organization that is gathering up items for people in need. And so I'm trying to use up stash yarn, mostly acrylic, pretty much all acrylic, that I have left over to make hats. Like, that's what I'm gonna focus on. And so I've had this Hobby Lobby yarn that is Hobby Lobby, I love this yarn, print in, it's one of the mosaics, but it does this gradient, kind of like a Spincycle does, where it's multiple plies that change as they go. And so this is what the yarn looks like. I have it on my other twice shared sheet spindle here, which again, love. I love this one. I'm gonna say I prefer this to the Lemonwood. I do have a Lemonwood. I even have the Whirl for the Lemonwood. Not a fan. Will I use it? Yes. Do I like it? No. This one, smooth as butter. Absolutely love this thing. So here is what the yarn looks like. It is looking kind of muted on the camera from what I see, but you can tell like it goes through this like gradient process. It's got this barber pooling to it. Super pretty. And so I've been working on a 2x2 rib hat. I have gotten about this much of it done. And so I just really, really love it. I did a tubular cast on so that it's nice and stretchy at the bottom. And I think I'm gonna try to use up as much of this as possible and make it to where this is a brim that can fold up to, you know, keep ears extra warm. I think that's kind of the gist of what I'm going for with this. I have been carrying this in my purse a little bit over the last week and knitting on it here and there. And so it's been a fun and easy knit for me to work on, and I hope to finish it by the end of September. That's kind of my goal. So there we go. There is that. And then another project I've been working on, but I will be honest, I'm kind of frustrated with it. And it's just because it's like misstep after misstep, and it's totally my fault. Like, I'm not gonna lie, totally my issue. Back a couple months ago, I got the vanilla bean sock pattern from the Crazy Sock Lady, and I loved how simple it was. And I have had this stash of, I wanna say it's like MCN, Merino cashmere nylon blend, from Dreams in Colors. I think it's the Smushy colorway. And so I wanted to work on, they're not 9-inch circulars because I have a shorter needle on one side and a little bit longer needle on the other side from my interchangeable set. I wanted to work on my 10-inch circulars, and I wanted to do that and have like a purse sock to take around. And so I started it out 2x2 on the cuff, got into pattern, was going, put it down for a month. Picked it back up and tried to go back into the pattern, and I looked at it, I'm like, that's not the pattern. That is not what the pattern says. It is off. I doubled what the pattern was, and so still looks fine, still looks cool, and it's still something that I can complete, and I probably will complete. But this is what it looks like. It's got this like Mardi Gras feel to it, purples and yellows and greens, and I kind of love it. I would love to have a pair of like Mardi Gras socks. I think that would be really cool to have. But the pattern is not right. I totally messed up the pattern. And if you have the vanilla bean sock pattern, you can probably tell what it is that I did. I did, instead of one of the stitches, I did 2 all the way. So still cool, still looks pretty. And honestly, I probably would still be going on this if it wasn't for the fact that before I went to DFW, I wanted to re-cake my ball of yarn because it had been in my purse and it had kind of gotten ratty. And so I tried to fix it and got most of the way through, and then hit a huge snag with the tangle and was so frustrated I just popped the yarn. And now the other part of the cake of yarn is a big knotty mess, and I'm not ready to tackle this. Maybe one day, but that day ain't today. So, nah. The other thing that I have been working on came from DFW this weekend. So while I was at DFW, interestingly, a lot of my knit group talks about this one vendor booth. They keep saying, oh, you've got to get mustache yarn. And I've not bought mustache yarn before. Their claim to fame is self-striping yarn, that you get 2 50-gram skeins or cakes when you cake it up of exactly the same stripe pattern, like from bottom to top. It is exact, so that you can make the perfect matching pair without wasting any yarn. And so one of the things that my group was talking about is during DFW Fiber Fest, they have a sales bin of mill ends. So the end of the milling of the process they were doing doesn't quite equal 100 grams. So you don't get 100 grams. Well, I rarely, if ever, I don't think I've ever used all 100 grams when I'm making socks. I don't think I ever have. So I found 2 colorways in the bins that I absolutely loved. Here's one. This one is 62 grams, and this one is called, Over the Garden Wall. And so it's got all of these really deep, moody colors to it. And so I'm really excited about these. But the ones that called to me, that I literally ran over to the Dallas Hand Spinners Guild and had them cake up for me immediately so that I could start them, and then went over to another booth and got needles so that I could start them because I didn't have my needles on me, is this colorway called Echoes. And so again, they're already caked up. So you can see how they are the exact same colorway. I have two, and I decided I'm gonna work on these together, but I don't care for doing magic loop on socks, right now at least. And I don't like doing 2 at a time on magic loop. It is kind of a tangly mess when that happens. I say this as I'm untangling these two, but I decided to do my 10-inch circular and do it on 2 different needles at the same time. So here we are. Here's how far I have gotten. You can see the exact same stripe pattern. And so what I am kind of doing, I've got my twice sheared sheet row counters on each one. And what I am doing is whenever I hit the end of one color stripe, I'm switching to the other and working on that color stripe on the other. Today I was working on both of them, so I'm kind of in the middle of a stripe for both. But I am going to do 20 rounds on the cuff, almost done. Really, really close to being done on 20. And then I'm gonna go into the body. I think I'm gonna do a fish lips kiss heel, and then I'm gonna go to the toe. And so I am keeping these in my purse. And because I had such an issue with the MCN yarn and how the cake got kind of unwound there, I decided I needed a bag to keep those in. And so while I was at DFW, Tumbleweed Yarns had the Diana Couture yarn owl pattern that they had sewed up. I have several yarn owls from the past purchases from Diana, and I think I even bought her pattern on Etsy to sew them for myself, but it is very few and far between when I want to sew at this point. And when I passed the Tumbleweed Yarn booth, they had yarn owls in Tula Pink fabric, which I think I've talked about this before. I love the Tula Pink fabrics. Like, I got this from Prep Eclectic. Oh gosh, last DFW Fiber Fest. And so when I went by the Tumbleweed Yarns booth and saw the yarn owl in Tula Pink, I just had to buy it. So here's the bag that I got. I love that this makes a little face. I just love it. And so the beauty of a yarn owl, if you're not familiar with a yarn owl, is it has at the top these snaps. It has 2 separate snaps like that. And so it stays open to where there's a hole in the middle and holes on the side, so your yarn can feed through. And then it also has a loop attached that's got a snap. And so the way that I will use it is I will loop it to a belt loop, and I will have my sock yarn in there, and I will knit and just be able to pull it through. And so for the two-ish at a time, I mean, yeah, it is 2 at a time. I put both of these cakes in the yarn owl, and I have one coming out from one side and the other coming out from the other. And I close it up like that. And so now they each have their own little section. And the one that I am not working on, I will literally just put it through there in the center so that it holds it. And then the other one I'm working on will just pull out from there. So it is a fantastic contraption. If you are a sock knitter, I highly recommend getting a yarn owl. It is perfect for those situations. Definitely recommend. So there you go. That is the colorway Echoes mustache yarn, and this one was about, I want to say it was 84 grams, so I'm gonna get some pretty good size socks out of that. So there's that. I was working earlier on in the summer on a Stromboli tee. One of the things that my therapist and I realized is that this tea makes my brain angry. It is not the pattern, but the yarn. This yarn was yarn that I bought during my divorce, and I have tried to use it several times. And so I still am not very far into it. I think once I get some of the stuff done that I want to get done, like the Ooey Gooey and everything, I will go back to working on this, maybe a row or two at a time, to try and keep my brain from going angry like it was. So haven't really worked on this much in the last couple days, but again, or last couple months. Again, it is on my Lemonwood mini minder. And I even bought a winder, or what is it called? Whirl, for it to go on. And you can already see what the issue is. Like, the yarn is getting caught underneath. I'm having to unwind it from there. Do you see why this is so frustrating? It's annoying. I am not a fan. I have seen the new whirls that have recently come out. They were at DFW Fiber Fest this past weekend, where this portion is not as tall, and that's helpful, but I still am not a fan of this. The Lemonwood mini minder goes into the whirl like that, and then you turn it, and it's supposed to sit in there and not come out. Well, I mean, you see, it's coming out anyway. It's not supposed to do that. Let me see if I can lock it. There we go. The problem is, if I'm using this with the strap on the top, it ends up wrapping itself around there, and not a great thing. I don't know. I love the twice sheared cheap one that is flat against the table. This one can't have a flat one because it's got that little nub on the bottom. So that doesn't work for it. So I don't know. Not my jam. Will I use it? Yes, I've got it. I spent a lot of money between this part and this part. I think the Lemonwood itself was like $45, and then the extra straps and other things, like I got a short strap, I got a long strap, plus the whirl. I mean, the whole contraption is over $100 for something that I don't like. I am frustrated with it, but I will still use it. It is, since I'm already kind of angry with the yarn, might as well put it together with that. Makes sense in my brain. So there is that. What else? So let's talk about some acquisitions from DFW Fiber Fest. I already showed you the mustache yarn. I only bought yarn from Mustache Yarn. That was the only yarn I bought in the entire Fiber Fest. I only bought the one bag, which was the owl. Everything else was spinning related, and it's not like I bought a whole lot. I really wanted to limit myself. I was more at the Fiber Fest this year to go with my knitting group, and I had a blast. I was originally going to go for 2 days. I was going to go for all day Friday and all day Saturday, come back Sunday. But felt a little bit of guilt related to it, and we're going to get into why in a little bit. So I canceled Friday, and I only went Saturday and left Sunday. So went up there early morning, drove to Dallas, and got to hang out with my friends at the tables. And one of the places that my friend Tyler was really, really excited about seeing, one of the booths, was the Crafted by Locals booth. And she has yarns that are dyed, I would say, more muted colors. They're really gorgeous. Muted does not mean not pretty. They're just dusty is kind of the way I would describe it, I guess. So absolutely beautiful yarns. But the thing that I saw when I got into her booth was her spinning fiber. And there were two that immediately caught my eye because they were right next to each other and they are going to be perfect to spin together. And it was a fiber content that I don't have any of. I don't have any fiber to spin up that has Tolsta silk in it. So here is the first braid that I purchased. I don't know if it's coming out well on screen, but this is looking, what I can see looks more purple than what I see in person. This is more like a denim blue color. And so this has these pops of pink, this dusty rosy pink, and this like dusty minty color, and tans and creams and some chocolatey browns, and it's just gorgeous. So crafted by locals. And this is Desert Morning. It's a 4-ounce braid of 75% blue face Leicester and 25% Tolsta silk. So there's the label. And so I saw this on the shelf next to this. Look how perfect this is going to be spun together. This is going to be gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous together. I cannot wait to spin it. And you guys, Andrea Mowry's new pattern, her new shawl pattern came out today, and it is perfect for hand spun yarn. It is absolutely perfect. So I think I've decided, I bought that pattern, and I think I decided I'm going to spin this up together, and I'm going to make that shawl with it. What do you think? It is the jaunty or the jaunt shawl. So kind of excited about that. So this was my big purchase of DFW Fiber Fest. These two braids. I have a total of 8 ounces. I don't think I said this pink color. This one is called Wild Rose. So same fiber content. And so these two together are going to be so pretty. They're going to be so pretty together. I love them. I love them so much. So last thing that I purchased at DFW Fiber Fest is more spinning stuff. And this, I purchased it because of those vendor bucks. One of the things that I had said was I was going to use the vendor bucks that I got on something that I was like, I don't need it, or that's kind of a splurge. I wanted to put it towards something that maybe I normally wouldn't get. And so when I went by the 316 Dye Studio, they had these sampler boxes of fiber to spin up. One of them was a 5 breed sampler pack of wools from the British Isles, which was pretty cool. But there were, I think, 2 breeds in there that I already have some spinning fiber in. And so it was like, to me, there was only 3 that I wouldn't have ever spun before. And so I was kind of iffy on that. And then I saw their Luxe pack, which was their camelids. And this is a pack of alpaca, camel, and yak. And it's the same amount of fiber, 1 ounce of each one, but it's only 3. And this pack was $10 more than the other pack. And so I figured I had $10 in vendor bucks. This is the perfect opportunity for me to get something that I normally wouldn't get, that is kind of a splurge, to do something different. So I got it. This is the 316 Dye Studio Camelid pack. It has alpaca, camel, and yak fiber in it. And I think that this is going to be so interesting to spin. I end up with 3 ounces of this, and so I'm kind of hoping that I will have enough yarn that I create out of this that I will be able to make like a hat or something. So we'll see what happens there. Other than that, little life stuff, beginning of the school year is always difficult for me. This year it's been a little bit tougher because my normal routines have been thrown off. You notice I'm in a different location. That is specifically because our niece moved in with us to go to school. And so my craft room became her bedroom. And so she's doing fabulous at school. She's getting highly involved, but it's been tough for me because I've gone from being a mostly empty nester. I mean, my son does live with us, but he's 26 and he kind of does his own thing, to now we've got another teenager in the house and we're helping guide her in her life. So it has been a great transition, but also a difficult transition. And especially at the beginning of the school year, always difficult. So we are down the first 6 weeks, and now it feels like things are starting to calm down. And so I'm able to come back and kind of show y'all what I've been up to as I've been trying to, we'll call it cope with the beginning of the school year. So that's all I've got for today. Please like and subscribe. That really helps get this out there, and hopefully I will be back at the end of October to show you what I have accomplished through the rest of September and all of October. I'll try to get back to doing these a little more regularly, but keep an eye out for the Dragon Horde yarn pattern coming out at the end of September. This is the Winter Court Cardi, and I will see you guys in the future. Bye.